Pro.
Okay. Yep.
YouTube Live Zoom.
Yeah, but hidden and unlisted. Yeah, there's a little way to do that.
So recording.
And then, hey Siri, send Martin a text message, mate. If you want to come to the Zoom now, I'll email you a link.
Your message done.
Classic with a dictaphone.
Yeah. Like there. A few more to come in. So you normally wait for about 5 minutes before I open it up. Give people about 5 minutes to come in. Mel's normally requesting the Zoom link from me, right? So she's normally going, hey, copy invite link. She's normally saying, hey, give me that. Where are you, Mel? Mel.
So you had about 8 people banked up there. We have 13 attendees.
And then we don't know whether Martin will make it, but we send Martin a text, an email. What have I got open? Some heavy duty stuff, eh? Slowed it all down. What are you doing? I'm already in. Beast is being a bit slow. I should have reset it. Normally do a reset before a webinar.
What do you mean?
Reset the entire computer.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I didn't do it. So it's like chunking like a beast. It's okay.
It really is. Done some heavy work.
Yeah, I'm going to upgrade the RAM on this soon, and the other one, if I keep one for you, as a beast machine. And now we get over here and we press view admit all. We get in. Hey, hello everyone. Just letting everyone in.
Hi, Shemi.
Oh, this
Hey, who's that?
Yeah, I spoke to you on the phone.
James.
Brian.
It's Brian.
Fine. How are you going?
Yeah.
Hello everyone. Just wait for everyone to pop in. Everyone to get their video and the audio started, and then we'll kick in. Cool. Jason, yeah, cool. I think we're all there. Beautiful. There'll always be a few. I've kind of worked it out now after doing quite a few of these. At 7:07 is when the majority of those who are in to listen and stay will be, and then we'll often get a few people jump in in the first sort of 5 or 10 minutes. So first of all, welcome to all of you. Thanks for coming along and responding to the reach out. And I think, Brian, was it only Shemi that you called directly, or anyone else on the call that you?
I don't see the other person, no. Just Shemi, yeah.
Just Shemi. So I'm Rich, this is Brian. Brian's a part of this team that's building around this project, which, we keep calling these webinars, but really they're more like more like a discussion in a way. And they're an opportunity to basically to find out if there's people out there that have alignment, if there's people out there that are looking for, looking essentially for for what we're doing with this project with the Awaretrepreneur Tribe, both at a networking and a mentoring sense. And yeah, that's really what it is. And so instead of going traditional marketing channels for now, I just wanted to connect. And so I've been doing this for a while. It's been really amazing. So I've been having some open discussions, getting a bit of connection with people, basically because we're pre-launching this around the 12th of December, and we're just bringing in people who, there's just a lot of alignment and values alignment. And so that's the aim of why I've called everyone in, pretty much what I wrote to you guys on LinkedIn. And then I'll do my thing. I'll unpack more clearly what it is and how we're functioning and where the distinction is and what we're trying to do. But before I do that, what I normally do is go around the room and just get a little feel of who's in the room. And really the two questions, I think I put them, where did I put them? I put them in the waiting room. Yeah, in the chat. I think it's funny. Once you go from the waiting room into here, I don't think you can see the other one anymore. So what we'll do is we'll just go around, and it's a simple, really simple, just a little bit of time. We won't go hugely into it. But it's really the two things I want to know is like, what was the underlying motivation for why you would come along tonight? So what was the driver? And in a way, then just a very small, who you are and what you're doing in business, I guess, and really, what you might be looking for in terms of, network or mentoring or support, really. So, and then I can hear that and see whether or not, before I go into my whole spiel about what we're doing and blah, 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 I can get a feel, and I guess then I can sort of frame up our project in what we're doing in ways that, might make a bit more sense to those that have come along tonight. So this process has been really interesting. One of the businesses that I own is a digital marketing agency, one of the longest running agencies in Australia. And, it's been quite cool being an expert digital marketer, but then doing things in this really low key sort of, few people at a time approach. It's been really good because, I can press buttons and deploy my team and run, automated webinars in all continents and, blah, blah, multi-channel things and do the whole stuff. But this project, as you're about to find out from me, is more about getting a core sort of base there of people that are, they're the right people essentially before going and opening it up to the world. So, yeah. Shami, you're on my top left, and so I'll just start with you. Just the motivation to be here, and then just a little bit about you, very brief, and what you might be looking for in business, network, and mentoring.
So I'm here because you really intrigued my interest.
Yep.
You talked about alignment, and I'm a great believer of only doing business with people you have alignment with. So I don't care what we're going to do together. If we have alignment, I'm happy to do it. That's why I'm here. What else do you want to know?
That's pretty good. And then a little bit, just briefly, who you are and what you're doing. Who you serve, I guess would be the way to say it. Who do you serve?
So I serve people who in their journey to leadership, to be a leader.
Yeah.
In my opinion, leadership is a calling, not a rank. And I'm helping people to transition from what they used to do in the past, like engineer, lawyer, accountant, so expert in what they do, to expert in people.
Yeah.
And that transition is really hard because you develop identity around who you are. Like I am an engineer, I am a vet. No, I'm a human being, and now I'm expert in people.
Gotcha.
That's in a nutshell.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Okay. If I move across, has everyone got their video on? Because that's how I can kind of work out who I'm calling out to. Joshua, you're next kind of in my gallery. I don't know what view you guys are using, but I tend to find gallery views really cool for these kind of group discussions. Joshua, hey, mate. Hi. just your I guess same thing. Just what was the motivation to come, and just quickly, what are you up to?
I came here to get a feel of the sort of area in marketing and networking, I suppose, because I'm still quite new to this.
Yep, beautiful. No worries, cool. And what are you running a business? Where are you at in that journey?
Attempted, but there isn't really too much going on right now. I'm only 17.
Oh, you're 17. Wow. Okay. Super cool. Well, listen in anyway, because the project that we're building here really is about the future Awaretrepreneurs, because hopefully by the time this project's done, the era of the entrepreneur will be finished, and we will be moving into a different type of different time in the way that business is built and structures and operates. So nice to have you here, Joshua. Just have a listen in and see what you get from it. Robert.
Hi, is it Rich or Rick or
Rich? Yeah.
Rich? Awesome. Yeah. So I would say I was intrigued by first the title, the awareness part of it, and also you mentioning alignment. These are two things I find crucial for entrepreneurs, and sometimes lacking those elements to succeed, honestly.
Yeah, sure.
And just anything to get to know the ecosystem better, then that's a bonus. Personally, I advise companies that develop medical devices on their product strategy, meaning what's the best product to build to get the best success in the market, so to speak.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yeah, cool. All right, beautiful. So a specialist area in consultancy, but you're looking for that potentially that connection, more connection around alignment and values. So that's nice. Thank you. Good to have you here. Thanks for responding. Jason, get a quick hi from you. Jason Waller. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Rich. How are you?
Good, buddy.
So, I'm here as, I guess, primarily a business development exercise. What got me in was, I think you worded your message on LinkedIn pretty well.
Cool.
It's a bit more unique to the normal spam I'd get as DMs on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah, classic. Yeah, good.
That was nice. I thought, I'll pay credit to that. And I run a consulting business. I provide business management and leadership consulting.
Nice.
I have basically a premise that strategy plus leadership equals growth. So a lot of consultants could provide great strategy or business management advice, but without sort of the leadership engine behind it, you don't get very far. So I've been a CEO of 2 ASX startups, so I primarily operate in the startup space, but also with small to medium-sized enterprises that might have plateaued and are looking to scale there to the next level. So primarily, it's a BD exercise for me.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Well, there's hopefully in where we're headed with this project, there'll certainly be quite a bit there for you, really, because we'll be inviting those leaders we'll be inviting the trainers of the leaders, such as yourself, to potentially radically look at different elements of leadership from a completely different angle. One that almost makes leadership obsolete in ways that produce incredible elements of productivity and growth and equality that as humans we knew how to do many, many thousands of years ago. But then we got very, very aware of how we could lead, should I dare say dominate other humans, and business culture and business structure became a beautiful vehicle to do that, so that I can sit at the top of a wonderful food chain with a lot of people below me. So this project is really around, okay, where do we want to go with leadership? So it's super cool to have someone like you here, Jason, and be able to get then some feedback, on whether or not some of the things we're trying to do with this, that's what we're doing with these things, is getting feedback from people about where they think the resonance is. Yeah. So that's cool. Beck, hello.
Hi, Rich. I've worked with you previously in Rich Training.
Hey, I wondered, because I'm looking at Elite Building Services, I'm going, I must know. Oh, there's the logo. Yeah, shit, that's a long time.
Yes, yeah.
That's ages. Did Sandy call you and tell you I was doing this now?
No, I think you contacted me on LinkedIn as well. And I was just curious for a start, having an existing relationship and being curious about what's next for you. I certainly was curious.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to be here because I like to connect with like-minded individuals with, positive outlook for the future and looking to improve standards and industry. And so my young son, he's just turned 12, he's an entrepreneur as well, and he's interested in hearing about this as well, and so he's our future. So
Joshua, there you go, mate. You're the old guy in the room now, Joshua. We've got a 12-year-old here, man, so let's go.
he's been coming with me to market because I'm homeschooling him, so he also comes with me to a lot of events in the industry and just business networking events locally as well. So that's been really good. Myself, I'm a builder, I'm a lawyer, I'm a mental health advocate, and I'm probably more than anything, I'm a connector. So I love connecting people, love hearing people's stories and connecting them with the people that can help them achieve their goals. I'm just always out and about, loving learning and doing bits and pieces. So that's me.
It's so like I've got goosebumps going on, right? Because it's so kind of cool to have you here, Beck, because this is the culmination of so many things that I've done in my life. I mean, you guys don't know, but like, it takes a while to build like a really successful, digital agency in the space I chose. I chose the building industry. Which was really funny. It was like, what the hell are you doing, man? But because all of my family are in trades and things, and the original reason to build it, original reason was for mental health, which you can find out later when I tell a bit more of my story. But to have you here, Beck, that's pretty cool. And you'll get to see where I'm heading and where the amalgamation is, because Rich Training is now obviously RT Digital. And, it's still doing what we're doing, but I guess in a bit of a different way. And then it's kind of linking back into what I'm doing with the Awaretrepreneur Tribe. So awesome to have you here. And that's super cool. And your son, who is there, Nancy Lippman.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. I have no idea who you are. I heard from you on LinkedIn yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
Probably through the music industry forum, I think. I noticed your profile. Yeah. You're into music. So I am an ex-touring DJ who now runs a coaching and mentoring company for touring artists, and very much work in the mental health space, and really just, I guess, I help artists sustain their careers for a lifetime if they want to. But so I really don't know what you do, but I was intrigued because I'm always, passionate about connecting with like-minded people as well.
Wow, you hit the jackpot, didn't you? When you'll get to hear about we got more alignment than the aligned alignment than an eclipse, I reckon.
I don't know who you are, but I'm here, Rich. It's done. That's good. Let's do this.
All right, cool. We're here. Beck, you just do a resetty thing, and I'm so sorry that we're jittery. I didn't reset.
Okay.
And it's just the way it is. We'll be.
It's definitely not you. It's definitely me. I live out in the bush, and that's definitely not you, mate.
It's
I live
okay
out in the
for
bush,
me.
and when it's windy.
Yeah,
it's just me. It's because of our internet.
Good for me.
Because of where we live. So I do apologise. I will drop out, but I think we can just we can connect offline, or I'll come to another one or something like that if it falls apart.
I was talking about my camera will continue to do what it's doing because I didn't reset my machine. You, Beck, for me so far have been loud, clear, fine. Do what you need to do. If you want to hang in and have a listen, then it'd be great to keep you here. It's not causing any distraction to me. And we didn't miss anything that you've said so far, which is good. And I think we're in. Oh, Yusuf.
And Daniel.
Oh, and Daniel. Daniel, you're next, actually.
I just turned up to find out what it was all about. I tend to accept everything on LinkedIn and find out I've got a sort of a 20% of it's 20% of it turns out to be gold, 80% of it's rubbish, but you've got to put up with it. So yeah, just keen to find out. Also, you know, like I'm a mentor both formally and informally, so I wanted to find out in that respect what's being offered.
Yeah. Nice.
In my spare time, I'm a consultant. I'm a consultant on industrial water treatment, mostly for mining, oil and gas. I teach yoga by accident. I became a yoga teacher by accident, and also teach martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. My wife's Brazilian. I've experienced a bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but it's too complex for me. I can't dance, so it's like first learn to dance, and then you might be able to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I got to start with.
Yeah, it's a bit like yoga, but somebody else is making you do the poses, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it is. It's classic. Cool. Not good to have you here. Yusuf, hello.
Hi, guys. Let me tell you a bit about myself. I'm a mentor and advisor to startups and entrepreneurs, and I occasionally invest in them myself. We're talking about tech startups. Right now, I'm building a minting hub for NFTs, looking into Web3 and the future of crypto, the blockchain space, and where it's leading to.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm doing in a nutshell. And Rich reached out to me on LinkedIn, I guess, like most of us. And why not to sit and align and exchange ideas and see what we can do together? So,
nice.
It's a great opportunity. Thanks, Rich.
Beautiful. I think that's all of us. We do have one person that's come in a little bit late, which is good before I've sort of gotten into the overall spiel of it. Sharon? Yeah, can hear you but can't see you. You might have just got the link now. You there, Sharon? Hello. You just come in just in time. I'm about to sort of get into what we're up to. But do you want to say a quick hi? Can you hear us okay, Sharon? Okay. Well then, yes, for sure. You can listen in if you want to. Lucky you. I mean, it's that time of night. For sure. Cool. So thank you everyone again for coming and for your intros. Thank you for what you do in the world. And yeah, it's interesting to kind of hear those different perspectives. As I said, I've been doing these for about 6 weeks. So as Beck knows, I spent quite a time, maybe around 10 years, running a digital marketing agency for the construction industry, which I then branched off into the renewables industry and then niched into the sustainable building industry. And now I've kind of, we're okay, cool. Sharon saw that in the chat there. And basically, do you mind doing me a favor? 1 second, we've got an alarm about to go off here. I'm going to give Brian a code to stop it. Do you mind doing that for me?
Yeah, that's fine.
Champion. Let's have a look. I'm here in Byron Bay. This is where my office is based and where that team's been running out for a long time. I also own a solar company, a virtual solar company in America. And by trade, I'm a professional musician. So I spent 10 years on the professional touring circuit, mainly in indie rock. And then I got into mental health for teenagers through what initially was a catalyst was an accident my brother had. Ended up in ICU and I spent a lot of time in ICU with him, singing to him and noticing the effect of music, even on the unconscious brain. A lot of that research now is gaining momentum. But that took me on a path for about 7 years where I toured the world singing in high schools, doing what we called awareness shows, which basically became almost an intervention style preemptive mental health program where through techniques that I learned about through my childhood, through through the way I grew up with a lot of connection to a lot of Indigenous people. I've spent my life very close to that. And here where I live in Byron Bay and have done for 25 years, a lot of the functionings of the community here and sub-community and subculture is based in a lot of that. Yeah, it's a part of as well the attraction that this region has had, particularly around self-development, self-help and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I came through, and so those experiences of building those projects, the music, the mental health, the infusement of tribal work. Then I got into men's work, which is how Brian and I met. Years ago, Brian was in one of the men's circles and one of the fatherhood clubs. So pretty much since I was little, the concept of connecting in tribal circle style way, gaining support through there, being able to bridge the gap between, what word would I use? Between modalities like music and breathing and ceremony, connect those into transformation and change. That's sort of permeated my journey. And then the ways that I've run my businesses is like that. Okay. So, I would when I hire my staff, I say to them, what it looks like is it looks like I'm hiring you to be in a digital marketing agency and you're going to do such and such, and it's going to be for these builders or whatever, right? But the truth is, I tell them the truth. I go, look, you're just joining me in this crazy journey that we're all a part of, which requires us all to earn money, we understand, and really I want you to feel like you can be you. You need to be a full and complete human. You need to, understand that a lot of what we do and what we're forced to do in our society and culture and our business structures is just sort of forced upon us almost by virtue of how things are structured. And so really opening up the layers of transparency and reality of what's, often what's going on. And because I've seen the flip side of not doing that, particularly because I work in men's mental health. So as you probably aware, it's nearly up to 9. It's about 8 out of 10 suicides are kind of males, 40 upwards is one bracket, and then the younger crew. And that's often because they're compressed into situations that are not real for them and they're needing to be unauthentic, unaligned, and all the rest of it. So it's always intrigued me, and I've always done the work, both personally for myself, to maintain my own growth, my own sanity at times, my own marriage at times. And then so when I reached a point in my business life where I was no longer needed, okay, I no longer need to be involved in these other businesses. So I'm scaled out, or whatever the entrepreneurial terminology is. I got into mentoring because it's just what I've done my whole life, right? And I've seen some of the best because I've marketed for them. So some of the highest level coaches and consultants, I've provided marketing and consultancy and blah, blah, blah. So I came at it from that angle initially and thought, oh yeah, I'll just do that. And very quickly just realized it's very flawed, the industry out there. There's a lot of things missing. And it's very prohibitive. I'm meeting all these incredible people with business ideas and young entrepreneurs like Joshua and that, and they can't come up with the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 and $7,000 a month. They can't buy the 9-week program to 9 figures. They can't. A lot of it's very prohibitive and quite. I don't know what would the word be, Brian. Sort of. I don't know. Just not really based in what I've noticed as reality for how people really change, which for me and what I've witnessed and what I've learned from my mentors is really we change most when we are in small, intimate groups where we truly have love and compassion, where we reflect to each other, we give guidance, we give support, and we give accountability. So the Awaretrepreneur Tribe started as that. It's me basically embarking as a mentor or coach and then going, hang on a minute, I'm going to start these groups called Mentor 7 groups, and that's what we've been doing, and they're really powerful. It's an incredible model that mixes personal growth, business growth, the formats of how we do it. The response from the marketplace has been incredible, and then we reached a point where we were like, this has to go, a bit bigger than this. And so I started looking around. I was like, where can I network with people like this? And I didn't want to go to the BNI, and I didn't want to go to these BXs and different things. So I thought, no, I'll start one. So the Awaretrepreneur Tribe is a business networking platform and hub purely based in the intersection between personal growth and business development using an 8 pillars model. That's why there's an 8-pointed star in the logo. And yeah, it's an infusement of, it's really a merging of almost very, very simple and ancient tribal cultural support mechanisms, with modern, mentoring and entrepreneurial mentoring and development. And the reason we said Awaretrepreneur is because there are fundamental aspects to entrepreneurialism that no longer are for me personally. I've got young children. They don't align with where I see the future of the world. It's been great to watch billionaires rise and all these other things happen. Super cool. Yep. But everyone's a bit fatigued. Like, the amount of inquiry from my marketing is mind blowing. Like, it's ridiculous. It's the demand out there right now for more authentic, truly connected relationships, particularly in mentoring and coaching, and absolutely in business networking, is phenomenal. Like, BNI lost 30% market share during COVID. People try to start stuff up, but it's for me, it's the approach we've gone with it is just get really good people together that are willing to actually try to look after each other and relearn how to really support each other. So it's a cultural change exercise for business in a way, that this project. And I want that. I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you see the stamp there? That's kind of the logo. I want that eventually. I mean, we're only a year and a half in, right? You guys are on these calls because we've got a pre-launch on the 12th of December where we're letting in 100 people only, 40 of which we've got. And the reason I'm going to such lengths to have these long conversations and actually connect with people is because the initial 100 people inside this need to be coming from the right place. And I think Shemi, I can quote Shemi. Shemi said, well, if it's not aligned, then I don't do it. If it's aligned, I'm in. And we're looking for that attitude as a embodied practice, not as a slogan or a cool gesture or yet another conscious heart group and, business from the heart, blah, blah, blah. We're going a bit more grounded than that in the networking aspect. And then people are coming into these mentor clans to get deeper work. And then, and this is, Jason might be interested in this, the leaders are actually self-emerging through the quantity and quality of their service and their humbling and humility to be subject to the support of others. And that's how tribal cultures would raise leaders. And and you would earn that leadership and you would grow into it. It wouldn't necessarily be handed down to you by your mate who's the executive who chucked you that salary. You would actually literally have the depth of connection with the people that are in your operation so strongly. And that's difficult to achieve when the disparity in the way organizations run at an entrepreneurial level is so far. Yeah. So there can be idolization of that, but if you sit someone down and go, well, hey, do you feel really close to whatever, some successful entrepreneur, it's hard because there's such gaps, in the economic element, in the attitudes, in the way. And that's why there's so much work for leadership consultants, because right now humans are going, you know what? It's like since COVID, people are kind of going, they call it the great resignation. I just think it's humans going, not really interested in paid slavery anymore. Is there any entrepreneurial leaders out there that want to construct businesses that are actually based on far more fundamental and equitous frameworks? And I think Joshua and Beck's son, if he's there, you guys are going to be the new generation of creating businesses that people will be a lot happier to work for, and a lot more connection and a lot more support and hopefully a lot more compassion and other things like that as the generations go along. Anything you want to add to that? All right. That's the nutshell.
Yeah, guys, I feel to share that. The only point that I'd like to make is an aspect that will be permeating the culture from the group mentoring is what happens in a group mentoring experience. If you've done any group work, circle work, there's a point where what you call aspecting, and the relationship you have with somebody else is very informative about your own relationship to the same issues within a business and an emotional context. And it allows the opportunity to actually exercise a different perspective, which may not be available within a direct mentoring scenario. And that allows an authentic and accountable permeation through the culture, which is what we're looking for.
Yeah, beautiful. You should do it. Like Brian, yeah, he's got it. He's nailed it. So now what normally happens now is I kind of unveil that, and then I just sort of go around a room again and just get a little bit of, reflection, anything at all that comes up. And then what tends to happen is people that feel there's an interest in that project, whether it be being a part of the networking or being potentially involved in clan leadership, because obviously we're preparing for a massive global launch. So this is going to explode onto the stage, and people are going to go, what the hell is this Awaretrepreneur Tribe thing? That's the plan, is that, and we're going to have in-person, there will be in-person meetups in capital cities and stuff. There'll be Awaretrepreneur Tribal circles and events and a range of things. And we're not doing anything new or different. There's people doing stuff like this in different isolated ways. I guess what I noticed was they weren't talking to each other. I couldn't find anywhere, like I want to join like a LinkedIn, right? But it's just a LinkedIn 100% dedicated to these value constructs, and with a decent amount of gatekeeping, so that when I'm in there, I've kind of got like a semi-assurance that I'm meeting other humans who are heading in those directions of those kind of values and everything, and so we're seeing a mass exodus at the moment from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, because people are looking for smaller spaces to operate, because it actually separates and dilutes our connection. So there's a platform. There's an app and a platform, and its function is really just to provide a space where the interchange together. There's going to be fortnightly kind of all tribe meetings. There's going to be breakaways into small, we call them clan groups. Slowly they will become in-person meetups over time. There's a 10-year roadmap. Okay. So for me, everything we're doing, the Awaretrepreneur Tribe, is based on, for me personally, is based on my own truth and my own walk, right? So for example, I was taught by my elders that each time you progress through a stage of life, you initiate yourself to another level. So for me, generally when there's a child coming, I'll go and do initiation. So the arrival of our third child recently, I'm back out in the desert walking for multiple days with some of my most trusted mentors and other men and people to really find out what's next for me as a man, as a father, as a partner, because in a lot of traditional cultures, power was handed to those who would pass through those rites of passage, not simply just arrive, because sometimes it can create some challenge in a society when people who don't truly understand leadership and power and the wielding of it start to do so. And maybe we've witnessed some of the fallout of that in some of our cultures, But if we go back a long way, you'll see some difference in the way that was done. So for me, initiation is a chance to get myself real and prepare. And this is what came up for this. It was telling me you're going to have a 10-year project where you're going to be involved in changing the culture of business.
Yeah. The only thing that I would add to that is out of concern of being just a cult business network, we would like to invite people with the same values to engage in these really basic practices of the group mentoring and that's what keeps it honest. That's where you can be courageous enough to claim the title of being an Awaretrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, it's it takes a bit of integrity, and so that filtration process needs to be the primary function, and I believe that's in the group mentoring function, and then that's filtered through how the platform functions, and how the networking is activated through a little bit of AI, and by the people who populate it with the skills that they have and with the heart that they have.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and that's what we're doing. So the core values are love, learn, and serve. I can show you guys really quickly some of the, just the basics of the. So look. So look here. Just to give you a bit of a framework.
Are we on your bed again?
Oh, let's have a look. Cool. So yeah, it's based around a I guess it came from a need for me to find that. So I've got that in other parts of my life. So I've got tribal circle in my men's stuff. I've got fatherhood circles. I've got my eldership and mentorship, and a lot of that. And I live in a community that's, it really showed up for us when the floods happened here recently. Just how profound the work over the years in this region has in bringing people to be really close together. It's very comforting, particularly in this sort of a full-on time that we're living in. But I couldn't find it in business. I'd find some cool people in business and some nice people in business, but then when we needed to get down to the business of doing business, it was pretty challenging. No, seriously, I remember I was having conversations where like, oh, Rich, I really like you too, but I just, that's just not how business works. And I'm thinking, wow, there's something really going on with how we've built this thing we call business and entrepreneurialism. And then I saw, lots of the different aspects of it that were shiny and attractive, and just really attacking people's sense of self-worth and really just sucking the money out of people, particularly in the coaching mentoring industry. Basically just promoting someone else's sense of self-lack and then trying to fill that back by charging them a couple of grand a month for stuff. Yeah. And it went off its head. So that industry went from 4.95 billion to 19 billion in 2 years. And that's because humans got isolated, and then everyone's got a Zoom connection, and everyone went and got themselves a coaching certificate and trying to reconnect with each other and built this industry. But basically, my feeling is that we need each other again. We need to come back into small supportive groups, and I wanted one for me as an Awaretrepreneur. I needed a place I could go where I could get that level of connection, depth, support. And I tried different masterminds, and I tried a few, and I wasn't finding it. Okay. And so then I was like, so that's where this came from. Yeah. So it's a community together. We bring together entrepreneurs, mentors, coaches, and we inspire each other, hold each other accountable. And we're really focused on personal growth. We're focused on the business development through the personal growth lens. Okay. It's a supportive, the networking space is going to be a bit bigger. It's different to the small clan group meetings, which are obviously, but we're going to create that culture through how we manage that networking as well, and how people get into groups and where they form into their pods, and which we call clan groups. Through that, it's based on the 8 pillars. So that's the framework. So it's around the intersection. What we're interested in is where purpose and profitability at a business level. We're interested in where that intersects with relationship and family. So the kind of things we're discussing in these Mentor 7 clan groups is these nuanced places where my childhood trauma crosses over with how I do my HR and recruiting, which ties back into my sense of fear around or foreboding around the world and my constriction around money. So we'll be in group discussions that are unpacking layers of these things where who I am, what I've been through, is intersecting in how I'm operating in business. And because no one is the guru, I think Tony Robbins, I'm not your guru. You know, basically the concept is no one's got all those answers, not even, you know, so the idea is when you get small groups together, you get this, and if it's done in the right formats, protocol structures, you get this ability to gain incredible amount of clarity. So that's what we're doing. We're looking at innovation and legacy in the traditional business sense. Okay, we're still looking at business elements and how to make businesses profitable or succession and blah blah blah, but we're doing it through different lenses. When an Awaretrepreneur opens up their profit and loss sheet in Excel, they've got a huge array of things in there. They've got financial markers and all the rest of it. They've got a whole range of other things, value elements. There are, you know, the impacts on them and their staff, how their business ties into society. It's a different landscape. Yeah, it's a different, you know, perspective, I guess you would call it. And now, and the core values really are simple: humility, integrity, trust, and, you know, generosity and trust. And as you know, everyone in businesses just operates purely off those four, don't they? Shemi, you're allowed to laugh, and it's not even being sarcastic. I've not operated from those many times, sometimes out of fear, sometimes out of overwhelm, sometimes out of constriction, but 9 times out of 10, because I haven't had the support, to be honest. I haven't had I haven't had somewhere to turn to where I can go, hang on a minute, how could I approach this differently, or where could you really sort of help me? And as I said, I wasn't finding it in the mentoring and coaching, and I definitely wasn't finding it in networking.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. So now, where to from here? I'll get a feedback from you guys, and if there's an interest, then Brian probably most likely would check in with you guys afterwards. There's 2 doorways. There's people that are interested in the pre-launch, so coming into the platform and joining the Awaretrepreneur Tribe at a networking level early, which is 12th of December. The official launch will be 26th of January. Yeah, so yeah, it is, and there's a few reasons, but basically that's what we're looking to do, and we want that first 100 people to be a mixture, about a 70-30 ratio between business owners and aspiring business owners and mentors and coaches who are, to be honest, they're just business owners or aspiring business owners as well, but they're people who are interested in working with others. And then at a deeper level, Brian, some of them inviting into the Mentor 7 clans if it's applicable to them and where they're at. You know, like with what happened with Anne the other day, because she doesn't want to, you know, sometimes people will come and go, I want to either be involved in helping run one of those clans, because there's a clan leadership program, because we're not going to be able to, we've got a team of about 4 or 5 now, right? And we won't be able to handle the demand for people wanting to access this particular framework of mentoring and coaching once it opens up. Those groups of 6 or so will need clan leaders. And so we're hoping to find some of them, you know, throughout this process, yeah, as well. So it's $33 a month to come into the platform on a pre-launch as a business owner, and it's $99 a month to come in as a mentor or coach, which goes in, you go into a certain bit of a different area inside there as well, where we have a separate sort of meetup on, you know, once a month discussing these concepts. And you also go into kind of like a roster to be able to showcase and support and be involved in the All Tribe meetups, yeah? And then we have a clan leadership program down the track. And then there'll be we're going to have a different fee structure on the 26th of January when we open it up. So that's where we're at, guys. This is our vision. This is what we're trying to do. And Shemi, you want to go first? Just have a little bit of feedback and yeah.
I was waiting for the call to action. I was waiting for it for like 40 minutes. That's
I told you it wasn't a webinar, mate. It's not a webinar. So the call to action is whether or not you feel aligned and whether you think it'd be worth you being involved in some way, and then I guess we talk further.
I love the vision. Let's start from that. I love the vision, actually helping those people that can't find the help out there. And look, I tried BNI, I tried networking. It is just yucky. Everyone comes to sell. No one comes to connect. Everyone expects to meet you and then you're going to buy their stuff.
Yeah.
Just people have no idea. I don't know who's teaching people how to network. No one.
Yeah. I think there's room for something new in that space.
I completely agree, and I've been looking for something like that. I even talked with some of my colleagues to create a networking product. So teach people how to network. It's like, oh my God, so basic. Anyway, so I love the vision. I love the mission, how you're actually going to do it. So you have different platforms. I think it's really cool using technology and using apps, using like the platform we're on now.
Yep.
I love that. And the values are really, really solid values to start with. Absolutely. They're a good umbrella for many other values.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So is that for those that here we go, you know, you're pushing me to do the call to action. The call to action is if you're interested in the pre-launch, type in pre-launch in the chat, and you know, one of our 30,000 sales team will phone you 30 times and sign you up into 5 Facebook groups and sell you 9 programs all in a row and upsell you and send a few tripwires. No, that's not me. That's Grant Cardone. No, I'm joking, Joshua. I like Grant Cardone, but you know, like there's only so much. You know, we will have a deeper chat about Grant Cardone, Joshua. One of my mentors taught me that everyone's got gold in them, and you just work out how to find the gold, and you work out how to leave the other parts alone. But no, because Joshua put in the chat about Grant. So oh, you're on the pre-launch, Joshua. Shivers. Hang on a minute. Now we're getting serious when the 17-year-olds are in. So thank you, Shemi. So that's what we're doing, and I'll hear now from maybe whoever. Oh, maybe Robert. You're on the next on the chain in that line.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. It all sounds good, I would say. Now you certainly touched on a few points there that maybe I don't put always at the front seat when I'm driving, so to speak.
Yep.
Like I always try to help others around me, whether it's business or personal. I always give that advice of ask for help for anyone I meet or try to mentor. I try to seek it myself when I think I need it.
Yep.
So, but it's kind of I was just thinking when you were talking, I never define myself in those terms. I don't put it on the front row.
Yep.
It's kind of a hidden thing somewhere. It pops up when I think there's a need to mention it.
Yeah,
it might be interesting to bring it to the front row. I actually went into, I don't know if we have time, but I went through a similar experience to yours when I got my 3rd child. That's where I actually decided to start my business 3 years ago.
Beautiful.
4 years ago, I made the decision. 3 years ago, I opened it. It was like, something is wrong that at the 3rd child, I'm living in a small house and doing what others are telling me to do after 30 years of experience. I should do something about it.
Good on you.
I got my shit straight, so to speak, and decided to open my own shop.
Yeah, good on you. That's beautiful. Yeah, there's a power in that, and for me personally, being supported tribally, and you know, I mean, been having that kind of support around me for a long time to work out how to move through those different stages and phases, particularly in business, is a huge driver for this project. Yeah, and that's what's happening in the clan groups. Is we're bringing that parts of ourselves forward. We're inviting that from others. And then we're seeing the growth. So thanks, Robert. Yeah. So appreciate it.
So, Rich, just a second. I have to go. So whatever you do, count me in.
Beautiful.
And we'll talk about it. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Nice to meet you, everyone. And I'll see you around. Cheers.
Beautiful. Well, Brian will be in touch. Thanks, Shane. Looking forward to it.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Cool. Jason, can we hear from you, please?
Sorry, so Rich, I didn't give you the finale that,
Go.
I think I'd love to go to try and see what you're up to, guys.
Okay, nice. Okay, so we'll get in contact, and the way that works is we normally have another chat, because then I can talk deeper. I can show the platform and look at what we're trying to do. Can talk about the Mentor 7 clans. Brian generally follows up with everyone after one of these calls. You know, because we're not at that stage where we're just opening it up, right? Like, you know, next year you'll just see ads for this Awaretrepreneur Tribe that'll be explaining all this and showing the work we've done and the incredible testimonials we've got from the work, and people will be just joining, right? It'll be an automated thing, but there'll be a rigorous inbound process. The thing is when they come into this space for this networking, they've got to be received by people that are ready to kind of operate in that way, and that's challenging, you know. So I appreciate your interest in it, and yeah, we'll be in touch about it. Jason, I would love to hear from you.
Sure. Look, and thanks very much. Yeah, that was a very passionate explanation. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, I've been involved in the Fathering Project, which sort of has a similar tribal aspect, I think to it quite heavily. I guess where my mind is at, just sort of top of mind for me, is you've explained the what, but I'm still sort of searching a bit for the how. So it seemed that the critical part of this is the, and you sort of, I think you might have just alluded to it then, you know, when you talk about the inbound process, there has to be some kind of vetting, if I want to use that word.
Yes.
And
we call it
otherwise, sorry?
We call it initiation.
Yeah.
Process that they need to go through. Yeah.
So there is a, you said we're not doing anything new, but I think, well, you have to be doing something new. Otherwise, you're going to end up with what you're trying to avoid, because the reason people do business like you described is because there are fundamental forces in play with economics that drive that kind of behavior and drive those outcomes. So what I'm looking for is, you know, how that's avoided and what is different. You know, what's the USP here that creates that environment? How's that environment generated, other than just people going, oh, that seems like, you know, that accords with my values and I'd like to be part of that? Because I don't think anyone really would look at those values and say, oh no, that's not me.
No, that's right.
Everyone would.
I was just trying to find the slide where it's similar to the 8 pillars. You saw where I talked about the intersection.
Yeah.
We have actually a framework of 8 values and how they intersect, and we have kind of an initiation process, and there's a series of stringent protocols and cultural aspects that people agree to. So that's what culture actually is. It's where we all agree on a set of frameworks and structures, and yes, some of those are pushing the boundaries around how people are going to be operating, even in amongst those forces of economics. And I've been doing that, and I've seen the result of that. And we are still playing with fringe elements, because at the end of the day, Jason, we're trying to work out, and that's what the Awaretrepreneur Tribe will be part of. It's a culture of people trying to work out, how do we push back on some of those economic forces that you mentioned, or find ways around them that can support us to come from those other those value places that we want to. So microeconomies, DAOs, you know, decentralized autonomous, it's built around that. There's going to be a lot of, you know, that sort of discussion and sharing going on, but it's going to be encased in quite a strong set of protocols for how the meetings are done and things that have been tried and true, some of which you would have experienced in the Fatherhood Project, you know, because they're drawing a lot of theirs even from like elements that have come through from Indigenous cultures, including ours. You go all the way back down your bloodline, if you go far enough back, you're gonna see small groups of people sitting in a circle around a fire, holding each other accountable and reflecting each other on a set of cultural guidelines. So that's a part of the USP, and we are, I said we're not doing anything new, but we're doing something new that's old, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, well, I think you're trying to surface that. And, my background, I was 22 years in the Air Force. So in that environment, the culture that supports each other without needing kind of economic drivers to do that is a shared experience, shared set of values. And that shared experience is a really, really, really strong part of it. And but there's process around that. And
That's right.
And that process is not the archetypal cartoony military discipline you think about. There's a lot of other things that go into that. So that, you know, so I still maintain those groups and those networks and that tribe as you will, and meet someone 20 years later and catch up, and you start from scratch, you know, as just where you left off. So it's that kind of thing. I'm sort of circling around it a bit, but that's the kind of meat that I'm trying to see how that's going to be achieved.
Yeah. So would you want to say something to it?
Yeah, look, I've been having this same discussion, Jason, with a dear friend of mine, and the qualification of participants in a community is a curious issue to navigate. There's always going to be bad actors, and if we want to populate the business world with a label saying that we're the good guys, or we adhere to these values, then it's very hard to maintain that kind of integrity. So there is one function that is a shared experience where we can exercise the values with each other. So in the broader network, that's going to be something that's regularly or fortnightly showcased and engaged with the community through essentially a clan meeting, which would just be the group mentoring process. And that does have really distinct protocols around it about how to govern yourself in that space and how to authentically listen, and then going deeper into those cross-referencing those pillars. So that's going to be something that happens regularly, and having this pre-launch population, especially with a few 6 or so clans populated that are also in the network. Really hoping to have a robust kind of foyer or reception of setting the tone for what a community is.
Yeah, nice. Well, yes, and that's part. So there'll be a fortnightly call that like as Brian said, that showcases those processes, protocols, but it's already happening. So this is already operational, just by the way. So there's already clans running, which are the Mentor 7 clan groups that are operating under these intersection of these 4 personal and 4 business pillars. And these clans are populated, and then they've got a clan leader that's running them. It's and then, to be honest, I was never going to go into the business networking side, right? If the demand hadn't have been so ridiculously overwhelming to the particular methodologies of the way I'm doing this intersection of personal growth and business mentoring, to the point where I was kind of like, what am I going to do with all of this? Like I'm operating multiple businesses in extremely difficult spaces, right? Built ground up and run. I can just do a cookie cutter entrepreneur approach to this. I can just do an action coach. There's that much desperation out there, particularly in the coaching and mentoring space. You can sell them almost anything to any of them, and that's what's happening. They're getting milked, right? Same with business networking. But what I felt was needed was a place where people can come, where it's culturally appropriate to be authentic, connected, transparent, and then have that level of co-support. And from those pillars, with the right processes, then you build, the commerce happens, and you build that in. And that's what we're seeing. So it's already running. We're running these clan groups where the participants are coming, learning these processes for more than a year and a half, nearly 2 years, just to kind of see if these methodologies are working. And they're working so well that it's time to. So this is inside the an example inside the platform, that now we're kind of like, okay, well, what's next? And that's where the business networking came in, where I was like, we've got to have a holding place for these people that are wanting to connect like that can still. So the fortnightly calls will role model it. Then there'll be breakaway clan groups. Then there's what we call the buddy call. So there's quite an elaborate structure that supports the meat on the bones, if you like, Jason, of getting that kind of level of connection going. So, and that's what you said then is exactly what we're experiencing now. Like I just went and surveyed some of our first clan members because we do a minimum 9-month commitment to join a Mentor 7 clan, right? And we charge an entry-level fee that's less than a third of what the entry-level fee for any kind of business mentoring and coaching is out there. I mean, the Entourage is an entrepreneurial version of how this works. Yeah. I don't know if you're aware of the Entourage and how they operate. Yeah, okay. But this is a difference, this has got these other things underneath it. But if you want to talk pure stripped business model aspect, right, almost could go into a franchise. It's almost like a franchise. I've got the complete model now to how to run these things and get people in and whatever, but I don't want to, I don't want to become the next action coach. I want to build it in a tribal supportive fashion. So that's how we're going to do it, Jason, and hopefully with people like you, mate, who, when we go do these calls and people that are in the platform are operating like this. See, this was a big experiment. I went to LinkedIn and I was like, what happens if I write all these messages to these people and see if I can find some absolutely fucking golden hearted, genuine people who think things need to change in business and see if they'll come in and, come into a different networking environment. And we're all flawed and we're all failed. No one's, the ultimate person and doing the ultimate good. That's bullshit. We know that, but there's definitely room for somewhere else more, there's room for something else. So that's where it came from. And yeah, Jason, we are building it, mate. But we know for a fact we got the Mentor 7 clan thing down pat. That's done. That's just mind blowing. And now it's kind of like, yes, would it work to create a business networking and try to role model what we're doing in these clans on a larger scale, then get people supporting each other? It's a bigger vision, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're definitely recruiting support from the people that are enjoying joining into that.
Some of the people. Your help. Yeah, some of the people that have joined are like very, very, some amazing people. Both not just in the mentors and coaches. As I said, we're kind of, a lot of just business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs and things like that. Daniel C., you've heard a bit, and I loved what you said when you checked in, so I'd love to hear from you too.
I'm keen to find out more. I just, I think I got, when I started my own company and somebody approached me on LinkedIn and got involved in something sort of similar, but doesn't sound as grand as what you've got planned, but I'm in a fairly specialist area, sort of, industrial water treatment, highly technical. So for me, I was in there looking for, there was, met a lot of good people, but there was no sort of, for the time investment, there was no sort of commercial return, I found opportunities elsewhere. So I sort of dropped off after I hung around for about a year. But I'm a bit like Jason, keen to hear more about how it's going to work and sort of if I'm the right type of person in terms of being a contributor or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of the commercial outcomes, it's going to be tricky to navigate that, although we've got processes and things in place to help support that within the values framework, and we don't know what's going to happen, right? It opens up really big and people are looking for this, but it'll be alignments and values based first, and then you'll discover whether or not there are, council members and things that you might offer I'm trying to think who your B2B target is. Quite possibly there are people like that will respond to this kind of type of messaging. I don't know, right? But we're expecting a lot more out of this because we're not actually just focused on a commercial outcome. We're reculturalizing an attitude towards business itself. And we're really just re-promoting a sense of networking that is about breaking down barriers and, so there's a mixture of things in it, in terms of why you would join, I guess. So, and that's evolving. Yeah, that is evolving.
Yeah. The other thing is another word for culture could be an ecosystem, and the network, the culture, the ecosystem is something that is emergent. And so I would welcome anyone that has a semblance of values and is seeking opportunity to help us create something for everyone here.
Yeah, there's that too. And that's the give to receive economy. That's a part of the core values of how we function as well. But great question, Daniel. And yeah, let's see, like if you do decide to come on the pre-launch, or if you just wait and see if it pops up later on in your field, and whether there's an applicable thing, I don't know. I really don't know, guys. Like, I'm just running these things and testing, and so far it's been incredible, right? Because look, at the end of the day, I remember when I used to do those awareness shows, right? I'd go into a high school and I'd sing to 2,000 kids, right? Somewhere in America, whatever else. And it wouldn't matter to me. I didn't know what really ended up happening on the total systemic effect, although I did later, because I get to get the research back and the feedback from the schools. But it'd be those 20 or 30 kids that had come up afterwards, and there'd be this direct connection and that sense of growth, where they'd decided to, get acute help for suicide or whatever else. That was it for me. So for me, it's kind of like, I want this in my world. I want it for my kids. I want my kids to grow up and go, Dad did this thing where he's like, thought business could be a bit better and more open-hearted. He created this thing, and somehow people that thought the same got together, and there's been some big effects of that. Because I'm not the only one doing it. It's happening everywhere, in different ways, It's just that I hadn't seen anyone kind of, bring it together in this kind of a format. And I think it's hard because of what Jason said. Do you know how hard it was for me, Jason, to kind of knock back? I mean, I'm a shit hot marketer, right? I own a digital marketing agency, right? I'm also very talented in entrepreneurialism. So for me, the coaching was like, man, this is incredible. $4,000 a month for an hour every 2 weeks, no problem getting clients. You think about it, then I was like, I'll just scale that up, just chuck a coach on 120 grand a year. And I did the maths. I was like, no wonder Prava Group and Action Coach, blah, blah, blah. But so I'm under commercial forces too, mate. But I make my choices, right? So as an Awaretrepreneur, we don't run some moral high ground, let's not earn money because we're trying to follow our heart. You make your choices. You have to, as an Awaretrepreneur, you're evolving, and you make little baby step choices. So for me, the financial viability of a solo mentoring career like that was massive. But this, for me, I get up in the morning at 5 a.m. and I'm bursting out of my skin to get into this project, right? Like, I'm just beaming and I feel so good, and I know what I'm doing, and it's going to make money slower, whatever. That's okay. But, and ironically, the funny ironic thing is, if it takes off, it's going to be incredibly financially prosperous as well, down the track.
Oh no, it's not. It's not that I'm looking for it to be sort of instantly profitable. It's just that I run.
You need a return.
Yeah, but I've got a consultancy side that makes me the money, and then I teach yoga to, for example, I did a stint of teaching yoga online to farmers in regional Queensland. That was far more rewarding. I'd love to do more of that sort of thing. Didn't pay.
Well, there'll be lots of people in the Awaretrepreneur Tribe that'll want that, mate.
Yeah, well, if it can offer opportunities to do more things like that, then yeah, I mean.
Absolutely, man. That'll be that'll be it. The people coming in here are coming in for personal growth meets business development, okay? But they're looking for the infusement. Yeah. Scott, you were late, or you came in, and do you want to say anything? You've heard a bit of it.
Yeah. I just came in late, so I kind of missed. Is it recorded? Maybe I can catch up with it, but I kind of missed the meat of it, I think. But happy to be here late. Better late than never.
Yeah, no worries. So and Sharon, I think you heard us from before as well. Do you want to say anything, share anything back, any reflection on that? Where are you? Just seeing if your audio's right. Daniel, I got your. Oh, you're writing, Sharon, are you? Let's have a look. I'll find my. Yeah. Oh no, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Super duper. Hi, I love what you say. It's really. I've been talking about paid slavery for years now. Like, it's just been horrendous that everybody sits in front of a grey box and calls that living. And it's so unnecessary that, we've got 10 multi-billionaires and everybody else is sort of, trying to work out how to give themselves and their families a beautiful life. But I'm very, very attached to great parenting, and I like to see fathers that are doing it for their kids, and that's the reason I've done everything that I've done in my life, is so that my children can have a better life and be proud of their mum. And I've actually written a book, and it's called Who Put the Kids in Charge? And it's just helping parents to understand that you're so important to your children as a leader, as a loving, firm, strong, loving leader. And you're not there to be their friend or to try and make their life as easy as possible. You're there to give them life lessons and to help them grow and be the best person they can grow up to be, so they can make their difference in the world as well. So I'd really like to get involved with what you're doing. I'm actually going off to a job shortly, so
sure.
I can't say for much.
No, we'll get in touch with those that are interested. And inside, you'll be pleased to know there's a fatherhood clan, there's a motherhood clan. There is elements of that built into this. Yeah, there is. I mean, one of the major pillars is relationship and family. That is huge.
Well, you can't actually do well at work and if your family's not working well.
Correct. It's one of the biggest things that comes up in the mentoring circles. Thank you for your share. Hey, Joshua, I left you to last, and you did really well. I saw your chats there. I've read them all, but I wanted to hear from you as well. What you thought and what you feel.
Well, I want to do a lot more than I'm doing, but what can I do considering my age? I can't really do much, and I don't really know how to get money, but I really just don't want to enter into something that's, as you said, paid slavery, and I want to do something that makes a difference. And I'm not here to promote any ideas that I personally have. I'm here because I see that there are people who deserve to live better and have a better time than they are having, and it's possible through a collaborative effort for that to happen.
Possible, I would say it's imperative. I'd say we've reached a point where it's the only way. You're very, very wise, Joshua. And why wouldn't you be? You're 17. So you're looking at the world and going, okay, what's going on? Do I go down the uni path? Do I get a job? Which kind of job? And it's a really cool thing, to have that interesting perspective. My 7-year-old daughter came the other day and said, Dad, you can't do that. I said, can't do what? She said, well, you're a rock musician, you work with teenagers, you do stuff with men, you run a soul company, you have this other business, and now you're doing this Awaretrepreneur thing. She was like, no, you're meant to just, she'd gotten from somewhere you've got to just find your one direction. But right now, Joshua, you're in a time where you're going to need to find the people, brother. Find the people and focus on the connections and the relationships which help build that collaboration. You're absolutely spot on. And if you want to know where some of the fundamentals of this have come from, it's come from a book called Return of the Bird Tribes. And it's a book that talks about the destruction, almost the collapse of modern society back into clan and family structure and back into small collaborative support groups. Yeah. And that's what we're going to see happen, because we're actually going to be economically divided at more levels than we've ever seen before. And we're going to actually be geologically and climate change divided. So we're going to have different types of situations that are going to cut off whole sections. Like I live in Byron Bay, and, it was apocalypse here. I was involved in coordinating domestic helicopters to run rescues, just out of community-driven connection, because there was no one here to save us, right? And there's elements of this collaboration and that need to come into business, instead of you just go through uni, pop out the other side, so that some successful entrepreneur can just plug you into some part of his delivery chain or system. So don't do it. Don't join that. But you need to also put the effort in to kind of work out where you want to go and what people you want to be with, Joshua. So that's super cool, though, your perspective, yeah? And then, all the best with, as you go along, exploring your ideas and how you might want to do that, So, yeah, and if you want to be involved in this, and, in there you will find people. Find lots of different people that are doing, pretty incredible projects, and mentors and coaches and things. as that's unfolding. Yeah, that's a part of it. And I also loved what did you write back to what he wrote about where you wrote, I think there's any sort of collaboration be necessary, not allowing people who are contrary to these ideals to join. In a way, yes, and it goes back to what Jason was talking about with how do you make sure people are on that same page. Look, there's a balance between that, because in a way we kind of I personally want to invite people that are on what I call the fringe of that, where they're edging towards wanting to come from that place more, but they're constricted or comforted by other constraints, right? So if I'm a multi-billionaire, I might really want to love everyone, but it's pretty hard to do so because things are pretty damn good for me right now. So, I can make Facebook videos about loving everyone and, blah, 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 and set up another sales team and sell a low-level product en masse. But it's tricky to kind of really drop down, in those levels. So my thing with the Awaretrepreneur Tribe is inspiring people to make cultural change. And that means allowing people in that are not necessarily, people that are wanting to go in that direction, but they may not be there yet. Yeah. So that's a part of it. Yeah. So, but yeah, how that unfolds, we'll see. But Scott, you've caught a little bit, but yeah, it's an entrepreneurial networking based on a shift in business culture, basically, mate. It's got a mentoring framework inside it that I've been running for a couple of years, and we're pre-launching December 12th. We want 100 people in, good-hearted people that want to, support each other and be part of something new in the business networking space. And then next year we're going to open it up globally, and we're going to grow leaders that run these small clan groups that have been quite successful. And it all runs through an app and a platform, and has a whole heap of protocols and technology built into how it's operating. Yeah. That's it. So if anyone else got anything else to sort of share or say, the way we do it from here is, Brian or myself will get in touch with everyone who's got an interest. And if that includes you, Jason, you want to find out more about the meats on the bones in there, we can show you, we'll show you what we're doing in the clans. We'll show you how it works and what's kind of happening. Yeah. Happy days. All right. Daniel.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. So good.
Thanks very much, Rich. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good to hear, and it's lovely meeting everyone else as well, hearing about their directions.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for sticking around as well. Appreciate it. Daniel, be well. Scott,
yes.
Touch base. Joshua, see you soon.
Thanks.
No worries. Catch you soon. See you, Sharon, as well. All right. Oh, there we go.